Now, your featured presentation on AmusingLuis.
A quick thank you to our members and patrons. Since its debut in May of 1982, the Weather Channel has adhered to a straightforward formula, delivering round-the-clock weather news and forecasts, with the occasional documentary or special sprinkled in. While the 24-hour news model has gradually declined in recent years, its simple approach has allowed it to build an audience and achieving the status as the #1 trusted news source. After all, weather isn't political, right? But that trust was put into the test in late 2009 when, in a move that left many scratching their heads, it chose to dedicate Friday nights to movie nights. In this video, we'll look back at one of the most unexpected and controversial programming decisions in the channel's history. This is the story of Flickin' a Forecast, the Weather Channel's failed movie block. Before we get into this whole mess, I think we need to go back to where the Weather Channel was at in 2008. That year, Landmark Communications, the original parent company of the network, had sold the Weather Channel and all related assets to NBC Universal in July of 2008 for $3.5 billion. This new transition in ownership brought a renewed vision for the future, as NBC sought to enhance the Weather Channel's reach by thoroughly integrating it with other NBC properties, all while ensuring the channel continued to maintain its distinct programming identity. In early 2009, things really started to change when Jeffrey Darby was appointed the Executive Vice President of Programming and Production. Darby's mission was to transform the Weather Channel from just a forecast network into a fully fledged lifestyle destination for weather enthusiasts. Under his leadership, the Weather Channel introduced new programs, including a new daytime show called Wake Up with Al, which was hosted by Al Roker, the longtime weather anchor from NBC's Today Show. While the show gained popularity amongst viewers, some other decisions sparked controversy. For instance, the channel replaced the smooth jazz that was played during the Local on the 8 segments with soft rock and instrumental tracks. And if that isn't killing a vibe, I don't know what is. However, it would be movies that would be the least popular. Before Flickin' a Forecast, the movie block was just called The Weather Channel Presents, brought to you by Jeep. And it would feature weather-related movies starting on October 30th with a new movie every Friday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And it was hosted by TWC meteorologist Jen Carfagno, where she introduced each film and provided commentary during breaks. The new movie block kicked off on October 30th, 2009 with The Perfect Storm, a biological disaster drama starring George Clooney and Mark Wahlberg, which chronicles the real voyage of the fishing vessel Andrea Gale, which sank during the 1991 Perfect Storm, an unnamed hurricane that was created after a low-pressure system absorbed what was left of Hurricane Grace. This low-pressure system temporarily became a small but costly Category 1 hurricane, costing over $200 million in damage and killing 13 people, including all 6 of the Andrea Gale. Now, just explaining that to you probably made this topic worth looking into. After all, it was a real weather event. But airing The Perfect Storm also marked the first time in the Weather Channel's history that it would air a feature film. Following the airing of The Perfect Storm on October 30th was the 2005 nature documentary film March of the Penguins, which premiered on November 6th. It was then followed by the psychological horror novel adaptation of Stephen King's Misery, and then you had Deep Blue Sea on November 20th, starring Samuel L. Jackson and LL Cool J. I haven't seen this movie, but here's what the press release says about it. A group of medical researchers find themselves stranded aboard a remote marine laboratory working with genetically enhanced mako sharks. With a tropical storm swirling around the now sinking lab, the mutant shark strikes back at those who use them as lab rats. Honestly, I feel like at this rate, if they continued this block, they would have started airing the entire Sharknado franchise. According to Jeffrey Darby, the reason for the addition of movies was that, quote, adding films to the Friday night lineup was a great way for us to further demonstrate how weather is an all-encompassing part of our lives that entertains and inspires us. You guys aired Misery. What is inspiring about that? There's literally a scene where Andy crushes Paul's ankles with a sledgehammer. Like, what the f? Actually, now that I mentioned that, I just realized that this rated R film was edited to a TV PGV rating, so who knows, perhaps this block was heavily censored. That's really all there was to the Weather Channel Presents. The block lasted over a month and was halted by the start of December 2009 to provide regular primetime broadcasts at the time. At this point, most viewers assumed that this was a one-time stunt or a promo. However, that's just half the story. Just a few months later, movies would return to the Weather Channel, but this time, viewers would not be as thrilled about it. This video is brought to you by Aura. Guys, I can't tell you enough how important it is to keep your identity protected and intact.
That wasn't your will, that was your birth certificate.
Oh no! There's no light! There's only fire!
In all seriousness, with the internet growing bigger and bigger every day, protecting yourself online has never been more important. That's why I really appreciate Aura for sponsoring this video. Aura is an all-in-one security app that keeps your identity and personal data safe. It offers credit and identity theft monitoring right out the box, so if anyone tries to open a credit card or loan in your name, you'll be notified instantly. Beyond that, Aura keeps an eye on your social security number, emails, bank accounts, and even property records. So if anything unusual pops up, whether it's sneaky data brokers or activity on the dark web, Aura immediately sends you an alert. And it doesn't stop right there. Aura also includes antivirus protection for your devices and a VPN to encrypt your internet connection and block sketchy sites. VPNs are also a pretty convenient tool to watch TV shows that aren't normally available in your region. So yeah, that's a pretty handy bonus. If you're ready to take your online security seriously, head over to aura.com/AmusingLuis to start your free trial. Big thanks to Aura for sponsoring this video. Now, let's get back to talking about the weather.
The outlook for Friday nights on the Weather Channel: movies big as a thunderclap, stars brighter than sunshine, and a forecast that's always right as rain. Every Friday night, take a ride on a tornado, escape an avalanche, run for your life, and get your weather and travel info too. The forecast calls for movies. Flick and a forecast. Friday nights at 8, only on the Weather Channel.
On March 26, 2010, Friday night movies would return under a new name, Flick and a Forecast. Instead of just Jennifer Carfagno, she was paired with the journalist To Air, both talking about the movie and other related things. The first film of the block would be the 1997 movie Into Thin Air: Deaths on Everest, which tells the story of the 1996 Mount Everest disaster. Why they made a movie a year after the disaster is beyond me, but I digress. Other films included the 1992 film Wind, the 1993 film Groundhog Day, and some repeats from the previous block like Misery and Deep Blue Sea. And yeah, it was apparent that they didn't have a large pool of films to choose from. Many of the movies had little to do with weather, and they didn't even have the good weather films like Twister or The Day After Tomorrow, just stuff you see at the Walmart bargain bin. As I said before, the block was massively unpopular due to the fact that the Weather Channel has always been a news channel providing weather reports at all times, and with them airing movies, well, it didn't do anyone any favors. To make matters worse, they opted to remove the weather tickers at the bottom of the screen, leaving only a transparent Weather Channel logo with the ticker appearing every hour or so instead of the logo on the 8th. And while smartphones and tablets were becoming popular amongst adults in 2010, keep in mind that many people, especially those not as tech savvy like Mima and Peepaw, weren't as familiar with them. What I'm trying to say is that there were less old people playing Candy Crush back then than there are now. Unsurprisingly, this would all backfire when on April 30th, the Weather Channel would air The Avengers. Not this one, but the 1998 movie based on the 1960s spy series. Aside from the movie being a complete piece of shit, in a worst case scenario, the movie was airing during a significant tornado outbreak across the Midwest and the South. Despite the Storm Prediction Center issuing a high risk alert, the channel chose to broadcast the movie instead of the live storm coverage. Longtime meteorologist Jim Cantoria was among the loudest in expressing his frustrations at the controversial programming decision, stating he wasn't informed that the movie would still air, stating in a tweet, quote, "I want to apologize to all of you. I was severely misled, was told we were bagging the movie to do what this network was created for." And it was this moment where the Weather Channel received widespread criticism from its fans, employees, and consequentially the cable providers. Dish Network in particular would even threaten to drop the Weather Channel due to its failure to focus on weather content and increasing fees per subscriber. In response, Dish launched the Weathercast, a short-lived 24-hour channel aimed at providing interrupted weather coverage, even if the coverage looked cheap. The channel would last just 4 days, as the two parties eventually reached a multi-year agreement for the continued distribution of the Weather Channel on Dish. Finally, by May of 2010, it would be confirmed that Flick and the Forecast would be cancelled, once and for all. Since then, the Weather Channel hasn't aired any movies, leaving the channel as is. Funny enough, I did remember this particular block. At first, I thought the channel was hacked, but little did I know, this was just an experiment gone horribly wrong. I wanted to make this video because there's really not a lot of information or videos about this block. The only thing I was able to find were the promo for Misery, the Flick and the Forecast promo, and some behind the scenes footage. And based on that last one, perhaps there are more promos missing for the block. While movies were deemed a bad idea, NBC Universal were still keen on turning the Weather Channel into a network dedicated to all things weather, experimenting with documentaries and weather-themed specials. While the Weather Channel had a few TV shows under their belt such as Storm Stories, It Could Happen Tomorrow, and When the Weather Changed History, by 2012 they really cranked it up to 11 with the introduction of reality-style docuseries, including shows like Coast Guard Alaska, So You Think You'd Survive, Weather Gone Viral, and Highway Through Hell, among a whole list of shows all tied directly to weather or environmental danger. While some of these shows still draw criticisms from longtime viewers, the truth is that the need for a 24-hour weather network just isn't sustainable anymore. I mean, who's waking up at 3 AM to check tomorrow's weather when you can just do that instantly on your phone, you know? As of 2025, the Weather Channel only airs about 10 to 12 hours of live news during the day. And while some viewers have voiced their frustration over the rise of lifestyle programming, the network has recently shifted towards shows that highlight the science behind the weather, like Weather Underground and Weather Unfiltered. Definitely a step up from stuff like, I don't know, Fat Guys in the Woods. In conclusion, I think these movie blocks bombed as hard as they did is because they came at a time before people were regularly checking the weather on their phones. As I said it earlier, not everyone had a smartphone in 2010, and when things got really bad, it really made the Weather Channel unreliable for once. But once phones and tablets became ubiquitous a few years later, I think that's when most people realized the need for a 24/7 Weather Channel isn't necessary. Nowadays, the only time I'm checking the Weather Channel is when a major storm is happening and they put someone out there hanging on for dear life during 100-mile-per-hour winds. Truly groundbreaking reporting, guys. 11 out of 10. Anyways guys, that was the brief history of Flicking a Forecast. I hope I managed to make this niche topic at least somewhat interesting. I created this because it reminded me of the Nick Mom block and how it had its own controversy and catastrophic failure. If you guys have any other suggestions for failed blocks, just let me know in the comments. And yeah, my name is Luis and I am out.